Unit 4. In this unit, we will be zeroing in on debits, credits, and T accounts. You'll recall in Unit 2, we learned about dual aspect concepts or double entry, that each business event or transaction affects at least two accounts, one on the debit and the other on the credit side. Let us consider the following transactions to make the point. January 1, 2018, Mary started her hair product business with $20,000 in the bank. Now, the two accounts that will be affected are capital and bank. We notice that capital, which is the money invested to start the business, was $20,000. Bank account relating to the business has $20,000 in it, and that's actually an asset, right? After identifying the two accounts that would be affected, then the next natural thing would be to determine which would be debited and which would be credited. So do not forget that would be the next natural thing to do. Ask yourself, which of these accounts are to be debited and which is to be credited? All right, what's this business about debits and credits? What's that all about? Right now, just take a minute and look at the screen of the device that you're using. You will agree that you have a left side and a right side, right? Imagine the screen being cut down, right down the middle in two equal halves, just as the pic that's being shown to you right now. The right hand side of the screen would be regarded as the credit side, and the left hand side of the screen would be the debit side. Now, so simply put, debit refers to the left hand side of the T account, while the right hand side of the T account refers to the credit side. So let me just say that again, just to reinforce, right, that the left hand side of the T account, that's just regarded as the debit side, and the right hand side of the T account is referred to as the credit side. So the double entry system divides each page into two halves. All right, at this point, a key point to remember is this: whether an entry is to be on the debit or on the credit side of the account depends on the type of account and the nature of the transaction. Now we're going to be looking at the treatment of assets, liabilities, and capital in relation to debits and credits. In recording assets, liabilities, and capital accounts, the following rules must be followed. Very important, follow these rules. To increase an asset, we make a debit entry. To decrease an asset, we make a credit entry. To increase a liability account, we make a credit entry. To decrease a liability account, we make a debit entry. To increase a capital account, we make a credit entry, while to decrease a capital account, we make a debit entry. So the liability and capital are treated similarly. So just take a moment and look at the diagram that is being displayed right now. Just take a few seconds and get familiar with that diagram. Please note, as we get further into doing ledger accounts in future videos, we will learn how to treat expenses and revenue. in relation to debits and credit entries. Now, applying what we have learned so far to the transaction that we looked at earlier in relation to Mary. Remember that on January 1, 2018, Mary started her hair product business with $20,000 in the bank, right? The accounts now to be debited would be capital, would take a credit entry, $20,000, and the bank account would take a debit entry to complete the double entry treatment of the transaction. Summary step to recording a transaction. Number 1, identify the ledger accounts that are affected. Number 2, consider whether the account is being increased or decreased. Number 3, decide whether each account should be debited or credited. And number 4 is just basically checking that the double entry and the credit entry have been made and that they are both of the same amount. This is key, an important rule to remember. If you have not recalled anything else that you have seen or heard in this video so far, remember this. Every debit must have a corresponding credit and vice versa. That's an important rule in accounting, specifically the double entry system. Every debit must have a corresponding credit and vice versa. Now, to close this video, we're going to be looking at some transactions just to cement the concepts of debits and credits. So we're going to be looking at some transactions relating to our shakes for the month of May 2015. So all the transactions you are able to see on your screen. In addition to the transactions, there will be the solutions. So you can take the rest of the time, view the transactions and view the solutions to the questions. We have come to the end of Unit 4. Thank you for tuning in. Please join me for the next video where we'll be looking at the accounting cycle, source documents, and books of original entry. If you found the information in this video useful and informative, then please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know when the next video is out.